Part 40. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 391. Chapter 391, Drive Away. 3 more, please customize. Subai arrived at the place where the preparatory soldiers gathered. Yan Jiao had just arrived, and his expression looked very nervous. He frowned and said seriously, the river bear has appeared. You should go back first. It's raining heavily outside. I'll go take a look too, Subai responded seriously. When he came over, he asked the fox-eared lady about the river bear, and he already knew a little bit about it. When he heard that the river bear was preparing to go ashore, the rainy season would be more serious. A violent storm swept over. The first thing that came to mind was Shenyu, which is the Shenyu in the classic of mountains and seas. In Yushan, there is a bird in the mountain. It is shaped like a pheasant, but its body is red. Its name is Shenyu. Specializes in eating fish, and the sound it makes is like the sound of a deer. Whichever country it appears in, it will cause floods in that country. So when he heard the description of the fox-eared girl, what came to his mind was this strange thing from the Book of Mountains and Seas. Beast. It's too dangerous for witches to go. The river bears are very ferocious, Yan Jiao directly refused. As long as I'm watching from a distance, don't worry about me. It's important to drive it away. Subai didn't back down. He really wanted to see this river bear, and wanted to know what kind of ferocious beast it was that could affect all the people in the tribe. Yan Jiao thought seriously for a long time and said, please be a little further away. Well, you go and arrange for the soldiers to set off. Subai nodded lightly. Tap tap tap. Yan Jiao came to the prepared soldiers and ordered everyone, get your weapons, we are going to drive away the river bears. Drive away river bears, the preparatory soldiers shouted in unison. Tap tap tap. Under the leadership of Yan Jiao, everyone walked towards the river in a mighty manner. Subai, escorted by 2 totem warriors and 4 reserve warriors, also walked towards the river. Yuying and the blonde girl were left behind in the tribe, and it would be too dangerous for them to follow. Half an hour later, Yan Jiao and others arrived at a distance from the river. At this time, there were no ferocious beasts on the river. Subai frowned and looked at the river, his expression a little serious, because the river had become turbulent, much more ferocious than usual. Everyone should be careful and stay away from the river to avoid being affected by river bears, Yan Jiao shouted loudly. Yes, the prepared soldiers responded again. Pitter patter. Ouch ow ow. Wow. The sound of rain, the roar of river bears, and the sound of the flowing river intertwined together, as if the world was enveloped in a layer of noise. Everyone's expressions were serious, and some even looked painful. The cry of the river bear was really uncomfortable. Subai frowned slightly and began to walk towards the soldiers, drawing witchcraft marks as he walked. After he walked in front of the warriors, he stretched out his hands and performed the healing technique. In an instant, green light began to cover the warriors' heads. Since there were a large number of people, Subai used a lot of witchcraft power, and it would take even more force to cover everyone. Sweat slowly began to flow from his forehead, and the entire healing process lasted 3 minutes. Subai finally put away his hand, took a deep breath, and said, I have cast a healing spell on you, which can temporarily relieve your pain, and use this time to drive away the river bear. This is all he can do, after all, to deal with river bear, or they are more experienced. Thank you, Wu, the soldiers said in unison. Yan Jiao cast a grateful and respectful look and continued to lead the soldiers forward. The soldiers all raised their long bows and recurve bows and began to aim in the direction of the river. Ouch ow ow. The cry of the river bear rang again, and the original dull sound began to become harsh. However, with the blessing of Subai's healing technique, the discomfort among the soldiers has dissipated a lot. They did not lower their hands holding weapons to cover their ears, but continued to aim seriously in the direction of the river. Wow! The river became more and more rapid, and the water flowed into the distance like a waterfall. A small steep slope began to appear on the river not far away, and then the water began to slowly separate, completely revealing the river bear's head. Then came the shoulders, body, and a pair of huge claws, with a long mouth that made a sharp sound. Now, the bow and arrow are fired, Yan Jiao ordered loudly. Boo-hoo-hoo. The warriors' bows and arrows were ready, and everyone fired the arrows in their hands. In an instant, it was like a rain of arrows fell from the sky, and the dense arrows rushed towards the direction of the river bear. Ouch, ow, ow. The river bear that was roaring loudly had many arrows planted on its body, head, and mouth, and it was screaming in pain. Some of the arrows nailed it, some were swatted away by it with its claws, and some missed and fell into the river. Go on, don't push it. Yan Jiao continued to order. He saw that although the river bear had been hit by many arrows, it still kept approaching the shore. Boo-hoo-hoo. Another wave of arrows rushed towards the river bear. This time they were closer, so the arrows fired were stronger. Although river bears are large and powerful, they are clumsy and slow to react, otherwise they would have climbed ashore long ago. Therefore, the second wave of arrows also successfully hit the river bear, most of them heading towards its fatal point. Like the direction of the eyes, mouth, and chest, I want it to be severely damaged. Ouch, ow, ow. The river bear let out a miserable cry again, and its movements were obviously much slower, but it was still moving forward. Yan Jiao's expression was not as serious as it was at the beginning, because it was not difficult to drive away the river bear this time. It can be seen that the opponent is already very injured. It is not as simple as in previous years. Without losing a few totem warriors and reserve warriors, I am afraid there is no way to drive away the river bear. In previous years, they didn't have long bows or recurve bows, so they relied on spears and stones to drive them away. It was pretty good that such a weapon could drive them away, but there were also many river bears that came ashore, and even destroyed houses outside the tribe. But fortunately, the tribe was saved, so Yan Jiao, who had a bow and arrow this time, was not worried. Although the river bear is still moving forward, it only takes 2 more waves of bows and arrows to repel it. Continue until you get rid of it, Yan Jiao continued to issue orders. Yes, the preparatory soldiers responded again and continued to hold up the longbows in their hands. Boo-hoo-hoo. Boom. The arrows flew towards the river bear again, and this time the river bear fell completely. Most of the arrows were aimed at its head. No matter how powerful it was, it couldn't resist it. Third update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 392. Chapter 392, More Powerful Weapons. For more updates, please customize. The moment the river bear fell, the river water rose a lot, then immediately receded, and soon turned back into a fast-flowing river. The piercing roar also stopped immediately, leaving only the sound of pattering rain and the sound of flowing river water. Yan Jiao couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when he saw the river bear fell. This was much easier than he thought. I thought that repelling the river bear this time would be a fierce battle, but I didn't expect it to be so fast. Thanks to the bow and arrow in my hand, otherwise it would not be that simple. When the preparatory soldiers saw that the river bear was repelled, smiles appeared on their faces, and they had no time to take into account the discomfort of the rain covering their eyes. Great, finally fought off the river bear. Yanhua breathed a sigh of relief, and the long bow that she had been holding tightly in her hand relaxed. Yes, we couldn't help last year, but we can help this year and we can protect the tribe. Shalan had a smile on her face. But this is only temporary, no one knows when the next river bear will come. Yanhua doesn't dare to really relax yet. The river bears that threaten the safety of the tribe appear at irregular times. Sometimes there are 2 a day, and sometimes there is only 1 for several days. No one can guess these things. Yes, you need to keep an eye on the river all the time. Shalan responded seriously. Pitter-patter. Hoo-hoo. The rain is getting heavier and heavier, much stronger than the previous rain. If you stretch out your hand and feel it, you can feel the falling feeling of rain falling. The wind was getting stronger and stronger, blowing from far away, picking up the rain in the air and turning it into a curtain. The river water began to become turbulent due to the strong wind, and the overall feeling of the rainy season became stronger. Sudbai stretched out his hand to feel the rain falling from the sky, and said softly, "It seems that the rain has really become stronger. Is this a river bear?" He had to sigh at the charm of the primitive era. It was really like in the classic of mountains and seas world. There are all kinds of weird beasts and wild beasts, and some beasts can even affect the changes in the weather or the growth of plants. It's all too wonderful. Everyone went back to the tribe to have a rest first, and then some people stayed and continued to watch the river, beating the big drum if necessary. Yan Jiao ordered. The two big drums were made from the skin of the big green snake that Sudbai went to the hunting ground and hunted by Yeju. When the outpost was being built by the river, two big drums were made and sent over, in order to warn against the ferocious beasts in the river. Yes, the reserve warriors responded in unison and began to turn around and walk back to the tribe. Sudbai still stood there and looked in the direction of the river, his expression very intriguing. He frowned and said, "The ferocious beasts in this river are indeed right. There are big obstacles to development." Sudbai had many plans, and a large part of them depended on the river. But suddenly there were such ferocious beasts in the river, and the plan was really disrupted. We can only plan carefully. The ferocious beasts in this river are indeed a big problem, Sudbai Nanan said. Wu, let's go back. Yan Hua walked over, her long bow already pinned behind her. The rain was getting heavier and Wu was careful not to catch a cold, Shalan also said. The rain was so heavy that the wind was blowing the raincoat tightly against the body. If he didn't hold the straw hat, the hat would fly away. Sudbai tightened the raincoat tightly. Asked, besides river bears, are there any ferocious beasts in this river that come out during the rainy season? He wanted to find out how many ferocious beasts there were in the river that could affect the tribe, so that he could have enough plans to deal with them. No more. Except for river bears who want to come ashore, there are no other ferocious beasts like this. Yan Hua shook her head firmly. The rest are some ordinary beasts jumping on the river. They are just enjoying the joy of the rainy season and do not pose any threat to the tribe. Shalan added. Is it usually difficult for you to deal with river bears? Sudbai asked. He was not very satisfied with the speed of dealing with the river bears this time. If a port is built by the river by then, the river bears will be the biggest obstacle. If these river bears are not dealt with in time, I am afraid that all those ports will be destroyed. Building a port once a year? Isn't this a luxury and a waste of time? It's better to just put the solution on the river bears. This time it was very fast. It was not so fast to drive away the river bears before, and some totem warriors had to be sacrificed to do it. Yan Hua said vividly. She felt a little sad when she thought about last year, because another friend of hers died under the claws of a river bear. This time, thanks to the weapons made by Wu, otherwise we really wouldn't be able to drive away the river bears so easily. Shalan said. Sudbai frowned. Unexpectedly, the speed he was most dissatisfied with was the tribe's fastest speed. He thought for a moment and said, it seems we need to speed up a bit. This speed is not enough. Yan Hua was stunned, wondering if she had heard it wrong. This speed was obviously ideal, so why couldn't it work? With a puzzled expression, she asked, Wu, this speed is very fast. Why is it not working? It will affect the development of the tribe, so we need more powerful weapons, Sudbai said seriously. Because the river bear is a huge ferocious beast and lives in the river, arrows alone have little impact on the huge ferocious beast. It takes many bows and arrows to show its effect. If there are more powerful weapons can drive away these river bears in one go. More powerful weapons. Yanhua suddenly became interested and asked again and again what kind of powerful weapon is it? You will know then. Subai turned around and walked towards the tribe. Fourth update, please support and customize. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 393. Chapter 393, The Law of Migration. One more please customize. Pitter patter. The rain was still falling, and Degua, Frogming, Yanhua and Shalan were left to look after the river. Every once in a while, someone will come to exchange positions to make sure those river bears are still peaceful. Wow! The water in the river was very fast, and with the rain getting heavier and heavier in the sky, the river that could not be seen to the edge became ferocious to the naked eye. The reason why the tribe is not close to the river is because every time it rains, the river will rise higher. The totem warriors who were fishing by the river have all evacuated. They will not go fishing near the river again before the end of the rainy season. Yanhua thought that Wu might not know much about what would happen during the rainy season, so she specially told Wu about what happened in previous years. Originally Yan Jiao wanted Wu to go back directly, but Subai wanted to stay and have a look. He also wanted to arrange some things, otherwise this river bear would really be in great trouble for the tribe. When the rain outside subsided, Yanhua took Subai for a walk near the river. Although it is not difficult to have totem warriors guarding this place, you still have to be careful. Does it cost a lot of soldiers to drive out these ferocious beasts every year? Subai asked. He just heard what Niojiao Niang said, that every year, many warriors die trying to drive away river bears. And there are not just one or two, but tens of them are lost every rainy season. Come on, this number can be a huge number for the Yanlong tribe. Yes, but depending on the situation this year, I probably won't need it. Yanhua's sad mood improved slightly. Do these river bears appear in groups? Subai asked curiously. Because he often saw river bears jumping up on the river and then throwing themselves into the bottom of the river. This book seems to be very ordinary, and there are a lot of them. Yes, many of them appear together, but each takes care of his or her own business, Yanhua said. This is also a fortunate point for the Yanlong tribe. It would be too bad if the other party worked in groups. It is already difficult for a single river bear to fight against each other. If several river bears, if they are together, they will not be able to resist at all. If groups of river bears land together, Yan Jiao will lead the tribe members to escape. Instead of stubbornly resisting, it is better to be smart and escape directly. Subai nodded thoughtfully and continued to look in the direction of the river. He saw one thing that was different, that was, apart from wanting to go ashore, the rest of the river bears swam towards one place. If a few river bears come ashore out of curiosity, or want to go ashore in search of food, what about the rest? What are they going to do? They all swam in one direction. Even if they jump up and then fall in the same direction, they are all facing the same direction. If there are only one or two, it can be said to be accidental. But that's not the case. Almost all river bears are facing in the same direction, and only a few of them want to go ashore. Wu, what are you looking at? Yanhua asked curiously, seeing that Wu kept looking in the direction of the river with a very strange expression. Do you know where they are going? Subai pointed in the direction of the river and asked. This question was really strange. Yanhua looked in the direction pointed by his finger and asked, are those river bears that Wu is talking about? We don't know either. The direction the river bears go every year is of no concern to the tribesmen. As long as they don't come ashore, it's better than anything else. If they don't come ashore, there's no need to deal with them. Since they don't come ashore, who wants to care about where they go, where to go? It happens only once a year, and most of them are moving in the same direction. Subai fell into thinking. Wu, what's wrong? Did you think of something? Shalan asked curiously. Subai frowned for a while and asked, are they going upstream or downstream of the river? If it can be determined that the direction they go to is the upstream and downstream sides, it can be explained very well. Upstream or downstream? Shalan was stunned, shook his head and said, I don't know about this, we have never been there. The river is really too long. No one in the tribe has ever been to such a far place, so they don't know where the upstream and downstream are. Subai nodded thoughtfully, thought for a moment and said, this river is already very long. It's big, and it's still fresh water. If they all move in the same direction, does that mean? What does it represent? Shalan looked curious. Although this big river is very wide, the water in the river is fresh water. They will move in the same direction, which means they are moving towards the sea, Subai guessed. This big river is obviously the river that enters the sea, and the direction of the river bear's progress is generally downstream. When the rainy season comes, many fish and beasts want to go to the sea to breed, find food or spend the winter, because the heavy ice and snow will come not long after the rainy season. The periodic directional back and forth swimming caused by these factors is also called migration, which is the law of nature. So most of these river bears are moving in one direction, right? Does it mean they have this law? But Subai is not sure. This is just his guess. No one knows whether the direction those river bears are heading towards is the sea. Wu, what is the sea? Yanhua looked confused. She didn't know how to look at the upstream and downstream, because the upstream and downstream are not determined by the direction of the river flow. If it is close to the origin, it is upstream. If it is far away from the origin, it is downstream, and it is close. The sea. It's impossible to tell the difference based on just such a section of the river. The only function of water flow is to find the source. It's a larger place with water, but the water there is salty, Subai explained. However, the direction in which these river bears are heading is also of great help. If it is determined that the direction they are heading to is downstream, and if they are heading to the sea, then everything will be easier to handle, although it is not necessary to drive the river bears away. It's a bear's method, but it can also help the tribe. Salty? Is that the same as salt? Yanhua asked curiously. Well, in the future we can produce salt ourselves, so we don't have to rely on other tribes, Subai nodded. If it is really the sea, then shipbuilding must be put on the agenda quickly, so that we can produce salt by ourselves. Wu, why do you suddenly ask about upstream and downstream? Yanhua asked curiously. Because the tribe can have more food, Subai said with a slight smile. Yanhua blinked her red eyes and asked doubtfully, is more food because of the sea? Please update for support and customization. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 394. Chapter 394, Trap in the River. 2 more please customize. Well, when the rainy season comes, many kinds of creatures thrive, and their meat is at its most plump at this time. Subai's black eyes kept looking in the direction of the river, and continued, at this time, they are easy to catch, and the taste is also very good. This phenomenon often occurs on the earth. For example, salmon will grow in the sea for 3 or 4 years. Then in the 4th year, when they can reproduce, they will return to rivers to lay eggs. At this time there will be swarms of fish swimming back, and catching them at this time is much faster than fishing. Of course, there will also be creatures in the big river heading towards the sea, in order to return to the sea to lay eggs or have sex. I match. Woo, the river is so fast, how are we going to fish? When the fish float is put down, it will be covered by the river water, so it is impossible to see whether the fish has taken the bait. Yanhua expressed her worries. Of course, not using fish hooks, which is too inefficient and too risky. Subai shook his head and said. That's not what he wanted. Fishing is still possible during normal times, but not during the rainy season. Is there anything Wu can do? The river is so fast that it is really dangerous to catch fish. Shalan worriedly said. Let me do whatever the witch can do, I'm not afraid. Yanhua's adventurous spirit appears again. Fishing is indeed a bit risky, but for the sake of the tribe, this risk must be taken. It is not necessary to take a big risk, Subai said seriously. Which please let me do it, Yanhua repeated. You don't need to take risks. We need a tool. This tool can be left in the river for a while, Subai said. Yanhua blinked her red eyes, ignoring the falling rain, and asked curiously, what is this thing? We can make a fish fence. This fish fence is placed in the river. We just need to wait and the fish will go in by themselves, Subai said lightly. What he was thinking of was the method commonly used by fishermen on the other side of the earth. They put fish fences in the river and let the fish be trapped in them. Fish trap? Wu, what is a fish trap? The first time Yanhua heard this word. To put it simply, it is a fishing tool made of wooden sticks and vines. Subai briefly described it, and then added, this is the same as the trap that the hunting team sets when they go hunting. In fact, this is a trap, just a trap placed in the water. It is different from the one on the ground. Similarities but similarities. I get it, trap. When Yanhua heard that it was a trap, she suddenly realized. Let's go back, draw a sketch and let Gumu make it. Subai turned around and walked back to the tribe. Tap tap tap. Pitter patter. The sound of footsteps seemed insignificant in the violent storm. More than half an hour later, everyone returned to the house. Yanhua and Shalan happened to have someone come to take over the guard duty, so they were able to leave with them. Subai went to wash himself briefly and changed into clean linen clothes, because he was soaked by the heavy rain when he went out. Even if you are wearing a raincoat, if you stay outside for such a long time when the rain is so strong, you will get wet no matter what. He walked to the living room and sat down, took out a pen and paper and began to prepare a fish trap, taking advantage of this time to catch more food. After all, food is the foundation for tribal development. If there is no food, nothing can be done. Wu, what's going on the other side of the river? Yu Ying asked worriedly. The fox-eared lady didn't ask just now. She waited until the other party finished taking a bath and changed clothes and handed over the hot tea before she dared to ask. Subai took the hot tea and said with a slight smile, don't worry. There's no problem on the other side of the river. Yu Ying breathed a sigh of relief. She was really worried about what would happen to the tribe. She swung her foxtail and asked, Wu Ying, what are you planning to draw now? Draw a trap for fishing, and we may not be able to eat salmon by then, Subai joked. Who knows if there are salmon similar to those on the other side of the earth in this era? Maybe there is, and then you can eat salmon. To be honest, he hasn't eaten it for a long time. Salmon, if it is really available, it will be a feast for the mouth. Fishing? Salmon, Yu Ying was confused. She didn't expect that Wu went to the river and came back with so many words that she didn't understand. The blonde girl was also confused, but didn't interfere, just playing with the rolling ball in her hand. This after seeing Gun Gun for 2 days, she was completely depressed. She picked up the cat and petted it every day, even touching her cheek. Gun Gun could only meow and meow, what else could she do? He would be caught. In this way. You will know later, Subai said softly, and began to lower his head and trace the pattern of the fish grid. What he wanted to do was a simple fish grid style trap. In fact, this trap is not difficult. It does not require other more sophisticated settings or equipment, just follow the settings just like fish fences, they are made of wood or stone pillars into a fence shape. Then they can be enclosed. Those fish fences are like the mosquito coils used on Earth. They are rolled inwards. However, Some fish fences are rolled inward in a circular shape, and some are in the shape of a square. Sudbai wanted to see the difference between these types. The only opening of this kind of simple fish grid trap is towards the direction of the river, or the fish grid is used to make a pocket shape. These traps, the purpose is to trap the fish that swims in. Unless the fish that swims in is very intelligent, it can generally trap many fish. Swish swish. The pencil was constantly rubbing against the painazetum paper, and a fish grid pattern quickly appeared on it. It also needs to be marked a little. Wood can easily be washed away by the river water and become unstable, and it may also be eaten by wild animals in the river, so it needs to be replaced with stone. Sudbai murmured to himself. He continued to draw on the painazetum, this time drawing the shape of a stone pillar, and then drew vines on it. After 10 minutes, Sudbai shook his hand wolf-tail papyrus, and said, "Okay, give it to Uncle Gumu and Kangxi, and let them make it together. After all, vines and stones are used, and it requires 2 people to make it together. It's actually not difficult." Yes, Yu Ying nodded, took the wolf's tail paper and left with her umbrella. "Wu, can this trap really catch fish?" Yanhua asked curiously. "You will know when the time comes, you have to try it to find out," Sudbai said lightly. In fact, he was not very sure. After all, the river was so fast that no one knew what the outcome would be. Second update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 395. Chapter 395, Fishing. 3 more, please customize. Pitter patter. The rain was still falling, and Sudbai and others were staying in the living room on the 2nd floor. He got up early today, read a book for a while, and then began to think about the next development of the tribe. The development of the tribe cannot stagnate due to the rainy season, otherwise it will enter a period of stagnation for more than a month every year. "Wu, what are you doing?" Yu Ying asked curiously, fidgeting with her glasses on the bridge of her nose from time to time. "I'm thinking about how to make the tribe better and better," Sudbai smiled and said. "Wu, we went to the river to fish. Yanhua has already painted the animal skin clothes and looks ready to go. The cat-eared girl has also changed her clothes and wrapped her feet with animal skin foot protection." "What are you going to do?" It was the first time Sudbai saw the beast-eared girl in this outfit. "We are going to the river to catch fish," Yanhua said with a smile, looking very excited. Going to the river to catch fish, Sudbai didn't understand even more. What are they going to do? They didn't understand it before. Heard. The tide has gone out today and the river water has begun to drop a bit. Many fish will jump out of the water. We will take advantage of this time to catch fish, Yanhua explained. Will the river ebb today? This is the first time Sudbai has heard of it. Yanhua nodded and said, "It happens once in a few days. We all go fishing at this time." The horn girl is eager to try just thinking about it. This time of year is her happiest time. Because this is also considered as part of the training. If you want to hit the fish jumping from the bottom of the river with a spear, accuracy. If the accuracy is not good, or the strength is not controlled well, you will miss those jumping fish. "So that's it, then I'll follow you and take a look." Sudbai stood up and said. Because the training of the preparatory warriors was carried out in the forest before, they had to jump up and down every day. It was too troublesome to hold either spears or bone needles, so I didn't follow. Now he just goes to the river. He just needs to watch from a distance. It won't be too much trouble. Wow, Yanhua responded immediately. Anyway, it's only by the river, and the tide is low now. The river bear will not appear, and Wu's safety is still guaranteed. What's more, she also hopes that Wu can go and wants Wu to see her usual training. What is the result of? Sudbai stood up and tidied up before getting ready to go out. When he just stood up, he felt the blazing eyes coming from behind. Sudbai turned around and found that it was the fox-eared lady who had been staring at him, smiling. Then he said, it's not raining much now anyway, not to mention we're just going to the river, so come with me. He really has nothing to do with the beast-eared girl, but he is also happy that the other party is willing to stick to him all the time. Great, I can finally follow along. Yu Ying's aggrieved face instantly turned into a happy face. Then I'll go with you, Coco said immediately, feeling a little bored after staying in the room for too long. Tap tap tap. Everyone started walking towards the river. Except for the reserve warriors, Subai and Fox-eared Lady were all holding umbrellas. More than half an hour later, everyone had arrived at the river. There were already many people at the river at this moment. Not only the reserve warriors, but also some young and strong men in the tribe, and even girls will be here. Because the river is low tide, many fish will come out, although catching fish requires precision and strength. But anyone with a little bit of skill can come. Anyway, the river is not very dangerous now. Therefore, some strong people in the tribe will be willing to come, because the fish caught at this moment are their own. Even if you can only catch one a day, it's still a meal, so there are quite a few people by the river now. It turns out that the tide has really gone out and is much shallower than it looked yesterday, Subai said softly. The river water he saw yesterday has overflowed onto the bank. The river water at this moment has indeed dropped by about the depth of a palm. Although this depth is not painful or itchy, but in this place where you can't see the edge, it's very different on the big river. You can see obvious changes. Woo, let's go fishing first. You wait for us here. Dozens of spears have been tied to Yanhua's back. Well, go for it, Subai waved his hand and said. Tap tap tap. Yanhua happily pulled the cat-eared girl and ran to the river together, thinking that she would catch a lot of fish today. At this moment, a group of people lined up neatly on the river bank, and everyone's eyes were aimed at the river. Wanting to see which fish would become their meal, no one dared to relax holding the hairy spear tightly in their hands. Yanhua looked particularly serious, blinking her red eyes very slowly in order not to miss any fish. And Shalan is the same, looking around with blue eyes, trying to find the biggest fish and then catch it in one fell swoop. Wu, Sister Ahua and the others look very serious, Yu Ying sighed. It was also the first time for Fox-eared girl to be so close and see the preparation soldiers training in the rainy season. Why catch fish in the river? Is there not enough food in the tribe? Coco asked curiously. The blonde girl didn't understand this, and she didn't know why the other party wanted to catch fish in the river. Didn't you clearly hear the other party say that the river was dangerous yesterday? Why are they all running into the river now? Caught fish? It's not that the tribe doesn't have enough food, they just do this so that they can eat more, and this is also one of the training methods of tribal warriors, Subai said lightly. Because the blonde girl has lost her memory, it is understandable that she doesn't know this. But didn't I hear Wu say there was some kind of fish trap yesterday? So why use a spear to fish? Coco said doubtfully. The nets can be collected in the evening, but they need to wait for some time. While waiting, there is nothing wrong with the soldiers going to the river to catch fish, Subai continued. It has only been a day since the fish trap was put down. If you want to catch more fish, you have to put it in for a longer time. What's more, it is low tide now, and many fish must want to swim away. There is no guarantee that they will not break into the fish trap accidentally. Coco nodded thoughtfully, her golden eyes looking in the direction of the river. It's really spectacular, Subai Nanan said. Because there are all people on the river bank at this moment, and it is the rainy season. They usually hide in the wooden houses when it rains. Now everyone is rushing to get there for food. Come to the river to catch fish. Sure enough, only food can make everyone in the tribe obedient. In their eyes, meat is king. Third update, please support and customize. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 396. Chapter 396, Can't Lose to Gun Gun. 4 more requests for customization. Yanhua's eyes were staring straight at the river, the spear in her hand was already raised, and she looked ready to go. Snap! Suddenly, there were bursts of jumping sounds, and many black figures jumped out from the bottom of the river. The horned lady's spear passed through the rain curtain, and you can still hear the swishing sound of the spear body cutting through the air at high speed. Puff puff. 3 spears pierced the black figures that had just jumped out, and red blood flowed out instantly. Although Yanhua only held 1 spear in her hand, the other 2 were already ready, just waiting to be thrown at any time. When she saw those dark shadows appearing, she knew her opportunity had come, and she aimed 3 spears at the fish. The horned lady picked up the 3 spears and found that the fish teeth on them were very sharp. The mouth is also very big. If those teeth bite on a human body, they will be able to bite off a piece of meat in just a short time. Isn't this a piranha? Subai knew those fish at a glance, although they were a little different from the piranhas on the other side of the earth. Piranha? Can these seemingly small fish eat people? Yu Ying asked in surprise. Don't underestimate each other. Piranhas are group animals and they all move together. If the cattle in the tribe fall into the river, they will be eaten until only the skeleton is left in a short time, Subai said. He had watched the animal world a lot before, and the fear and destructive power of piranhas was still in his mind. But in general, there was no change, and the teeth and appearance were almost the same. Hiss. Yu Ying took a breath of cold air and thought this was too scary. Thinking about it, she even dared not get close to the big river. Puff puff. Another sound broke through the air, and other people on the river bank also threw their spears. They all also saw the black figures jumping out of the river, and they took action with quick eyes and hands. The donated blood fell into the river again. Because there was a lot of blood, the smell of blood attracted a lot of piranhas. They followed the smell and came here to snatch it. For a while, there were splashes of water on the river, and there were crackling sounds everywhere. The struggling sound of the shot creature was completely drowned out by the sound of piranhas grabbing food. The piranhas here are all black and red, about as thick as an adult's arm, and their powerful tails always make big splashes when they slap the water. Call out! Call out! Call out! 3 more spears were thrown out, and long grass ropes were tied to those spears. Obviously, this was to drag the prey just shot back to the shore, because there were not many fish nearby. Plus the shore there are many people on the side, and those fish will not easily approach the shore. At this time, you need a spear with a straw rope. Of course, there are also those who are not afraid of people on the shore, and that is the piranha, which is opening its huge mouth. Their mouths reveal pointed teeth that are opening and closing all the time. It seems that as long as someone falls into the water, they can eat him up immediately. And the reason why Yanhua and the others wrap their feet with animal skins is because protect those piranhas. Because many piranhas will be so crazy that they jump out of the river and rush towards the people on the shore. Piranhas have bitten the feet of people on the shore many times before, resulting in the loss of a piece of meat, so the tribe people learn to behave. And those piranhas go even crazier when they smell the smell of blood. They will rush towards the place with the smell of blood in groups. In addition to the piranhas, there are many different fish on the river. Moving upstream, the fish are of different colors. But generally they are dark or cool, and the warm-colored piranhas are particularly prominent among them. Piranhas sometimes attack those small fish and keep swimming. Go after them. If you are bitten, you will swallow one whole, or even bite it to pieces. I've caught 6 Yanhua peeled off the fish in her hand from the spear. The accuracy of Niojiao Niang is envied by many people. Almost every spear can hit a fish. I'm almost there, this is the 5th one. Shalan smiled and took back the spear that he had thrown into the distance. Meow. Meow. Waves of dull screams sounded, and Subai followed the sound and found out that Gun had been lying on the shore roaring. The black cat hair on its body also began to stand up, and the entire cat's shape also changed into a leopard cat state with explosive fur. Gun lowered his eyebrows and looked at the piranha on the river, grinning as if he wanted to compete with the piranha. Isn't it said that cats are afraid of water? It's still raining, Subai said doubtfully. Now he saw that Gun was not only not afraid of the rain, but also looked like he was ready to jump into the river. Snap! There was a sound of jumping out of the river, and a piranha rushed towards the rolling face. Meow! There was a wild sound, and the piranha was slapped ashore with one claw. The force was so strong that after the piranha was slapped ashore, the whole fish remained motionless on the shore, as if it had fainted. Gun did not go directly to enjoy the piranha, but continued to face the river and grinned, as if he wanted to save more fish. Snap! There was another sound, and a piranha continued to rush towards Gun. The consequences can be imagined, but it was knocked unconscious on the shore. A group of people and a cat were all aiming at the river surface in the rain, and they all started to catch fish. This scene seems a bit inexplicably harmonious, especially on Gun's side. There are already many fish on the shore. Not all of them are piranhas, but there are also some other fish. As for those other fish, Gun caught them with his claws. Gun was so awesome, he caught a lot of fish who really felt like looking in the direction of the black cat. Looking at the number of fish behind it, there should be more than a dozen. It's already a lot, others only have a few. It seems that we have to work hard and not lose to Gun. Shalan smiled and said. Yes, Yanhua nodded immediately. Fourth update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 397. Chapter 397, Will you die if you turn into a fish? One more, please customize. Gwagwagwa. A series of low and continuous frogs croaked. Subai followed the sound and found a group of frogs not far away on the left. No, although they are said to be frogs, those creatures don't look very much like frogs. Its whole body is blue-gray, its limbs are so strong that they are bouncing, and there is a fin that looks like a fish tail behind it. Others are no different from ordinary frogs, even the calls are the same. I saw those blue-gray frogs jumping in the direction of the river, one followed closely by the other, just like dropping dumplings. What are their names? What are you doing? Subai asked curiously, not quite understanding this scene. They are fish frogs, and they only appear in large numbers during the rainy season, and are almost invisible at ordinary times, Yu Ying said softly. The fox-eared girl's pink eyes have been looking at the jumping fish and frogs. She can only see them almost once a year, so she is quite curious. Fish frog. Could it be that their tails are the same as fish tails? So it's called a fish frog. Subai once again lamented the simplicity and crudeness of primitive people's naming. Fish tail. Yu Ying was stunned for a moment, shook her head and said no, Wu, they will turn into fish after jumping into the water. Will you turn into a fish if you jump into the water? Subai raised his eyebrows slightly, thinking what kind of sexy operation this was. This was the first time he heard of it, but he soon understood it. After all, this is a primitive world. There are some strange things or creatures that don't exist here. Is it okay to jump into the water and turn into a fish? Yes, they do this every year. They jump into the water and turn into fish and then die, Yu Ying explained. Coco was also very surprised when she heard it. She didn't know if this was the first time she heard about it or if she just didn't remember it. Why do you die after turning into a fish? Subai said puzzledly. I didn't know that at this time of year, there are many carcasses of fish and frogs on the river. Yu Ying shook her head. These fox-eared girls don't understand. Frogs turn into fish and fish die after entering the water. They can't understand all this. Sudbai blinked his black eyes and stepped to the river bank to see how one of those fish frogs turned into a fish, and how they died in the river. Tap tap tap. He stood on the bank of the river and watched the fish and frogs jumping out of the forest in huge groups. It looks a bit like the annual wildebeest migration on the other side of the earth, which is as spectacular as the annual migration. There are so many that you can't even count them. Gwa gwa gwa. Fish frogs cry with two large vocal sacs inflated. Those frogs without inflated vocal sacs are female frogs. The vocal cords of frogs are two elastic fibrous bands stretched inside the arytenoid cartilage. When air rushes out of the lungs, it causes the free edge of the vocal cords to vibrate and produce sound. Male frogs have a pair of vocal sacs on each side of the corners of the mouth. The vocal sac hole is connected to the oral cavity. The vocal sac is equivalent to a resonance box, which amplifies the sound produced by the vocal cords due to resonance. Female frogs do not have vocal sacs and rely only on their vocal cords to produce sounds, which are far less loud than male frogs. Also, toads, both male and female, do not have vocal sacs. Thump, thump. The fish and frogs plunged into the water one after another, and each one jumped in without hesitation. The formation felt like a strong man cutting off his arms. After the fish frogs fell into the water, they first became familiar with the river water, and then began to swim around in the water. "Haven't you started yet?" Subhain Anand said, seeing that the fish and frogs still maintained their original appearance. In less than a minute, he saw a fish that looked like a frog, and the whole body was blue-gray. But the limbs of the frog were gone, replaced by there were 4 fins, and there was a small blue carapace on the head that looked like a hard shell. Sudbai was not sure whether this was a fish that turned into a fish frog, but he just continued to stare at the fish frogs that had not changed. 10 minutes later, those fish frogs began to change, and their limbs began to gradually shrink until they completely turned into fins. The body also began to change, first the head and then the tail. The whole process lasted more than 10 minutes. Transformed into a fish after that, I started to swim freely, looking very free and easy. What's next? Sudbai continued to look at the fish frogs that turned into fish, wondering what they would do next. The fish frogs that turned into fish swam for a while and then began to look for companions. First, they rubbed against the fish. Then go to the next fish and rub it. Is it courtship? Sudbai thought to himself. If you think about it this way, everything will make sense. The reason why these fish and frogs enter the river during the rainy season is to reproduce. They turn into fish in the water and follow them to court. Later, it is estimated that just lay eggs and then die. Sudbai watched the whole process for almost an hour, and the result was just as he thought. Those fish and frogs died one after another after laying eggs, and their lives were so short that it was regrettable. "Wu, do you know what's going on?" Yu Ying asked curiously, and the fox-eared lady also watched for a long time. "They are just continuing themselves." Sudbai smiled slightly, stood up and looked at the fish and frogs running towards the river one after another. He raised his eyebrows slightly and thought about it, and already had different ideas in his mind. How do these fish and frogs taste? That's right. He just wanted to catch some fish frogs and try them out to see if they were as delicious as the bullfrogs on the other side of the earth. "Wu, what's wrong?" Yu Ying asked curiously. "Let someone catch some fish frogs, and we'll eat hot pot frogs tonight," Sudbai ordered. "How can you know the taste if you don't try it? What's more, there are so many fish and frogs here." "What is a griddle frog?" Yu Ying asked doubtfully. "It will taste delicious, trust me," Sudbai said with a smile. "The muscles of these fish and frogs are so developed, and now is the time for them to reproduce. The meat must be very plump." "Good." Yu Ying nodded, turned around and went to find the horned lady and the cat-eared girls. Tap tap tap. After hearing this, Yan Hua stopped her spear and ran over, wondering which. "I heard that we are going to eat fish and frogs at night. You should catch some and bring them back first." I don't know if these fish and frogs can be eaten, Sudbai said. He wanted the beast-eared girls to catch some first. It would be good to catch more after confirming that they are delicious and non-toxic. Good Yanhua became more motivated, put down her spear, picked up the wooden basket, and started to catch fish frogs. Since those fish frogs haven't come out for a long time, their movements are a bit slow, and they are not afraid of people. They keep jumping around, so it is not difficult to catch them. In less than 10 minutes, the horned lady and the cat-eared lady caught a lot of fish and frogs and put them all in wooden baskets. Please update for support and customization. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 398. Chapter 398, Water Doll. 2 more, please customize. Just when the horned lady finished catching the fish and frogs, many creatures appeared on the river. Those creatures looked very strange. All you could see were black stripes on the river. Those black creatures have been moving towards the fish frogs, moving very fast, like they are natural swimmers. What is that? Sudbai asked. Yu Ying kept looking at the direction of the river with her toes, and said it seems to be poisonous insects. These also live in the river, but they will appear usually. Fox-eared lady knows about this kind of creature. She was accidentally bitten before, and the bitten area was numb for a long time. Moreover, the bite of this kind of creature is very painful. After being bitten, the poisonous insects will release toxins, which will make the bitten the part of the body will be temporarily paralyzed. Then start to bite other parts to ensure that the prey cannot move at all, and then hunt. Poisonous insect? It looks a bit like a centipede. Sudbai has seen the overall appearance of the poisonous insect. It looks like the centipede on the other side of the earth, but it is larger and the rows of legs are longer. There are not many other changes. What is a centipede? Yu Ying asked curiously. Nothing. Are these poisonous insects coming out to hunt? Sudbai saw that they all appeared in groups. Yes, they want to eat everyone, even humans. Yu Ying was a little scared when she thought about it. Just when the fox-eared lady finished speaking, some totem warriors were evacuating people. The people who were originally piled on the shore began to evacuate back, very fast, in the blink of an eye. Kung Fu was densely packed with people from the beginning, but all of a sudden there was no one left. Is it so scary? Sudbai was very curious about the lethality of this poisonous insect. It is rare to see centipedes that move in groups on the earth. Most of them are one by one. Although they are very big, they don't look like they are actively attacking people. Look. Swish swish. The poisonous insects made bursts of sound when they slid on the river surface. For a moment, it was not clear whether it was the sound of the poisonous insects' cries or the sound of their feet sliding across the water. The poisonous insects swam over from the distant river and rushed straight towards the fish frogs. In just a few clicks, many fish and frogs that had just jumped into the water were bitten by poisonous insects. The fish frog is no longer small, bigger than the palms of 2 adults, but it was bitten by poisonous insects that were small in size and could not move. However, poisonous insects win by quantity. There are almost 3 or 4 poisonous insects biting a fish frog. After those fish frogs were bitten, within 10 seconds, their thighs could no longer move, and they gradually lost consciousness until they became motionless. It turns out the toxicity is so strong. Sudbai murmured to himself, I really saw a magical scene in nature today. Swish swish. Those poisonous insects began to crawl towards the shore. They did this every year, and they even crawled into the tribe. Yanhua slowly took out her longbow and began to aim at the poisonous insects. The other warriors did the same. Boo-hoo-hoo. There were sounds of piercing the air, and all the poisonous insects were pinned by the arrows. The poisonous insects are also smart creatures. They saw that most of their landing companions died violently, and they did not dare to act rashly. After wandering in place for a while, they returned to the river. It has to be like this, Every year Yanhua put away her longbow and prepared to continue catching fish with the soldiers. But before they got close to the coast, a small whirlpool suddenly appeared on the river. These whirlpools were like something opening its mouth under the water. It was like sucking, and the poisonous insects and fish and frogs floating on the water were all sucked in by the whirlpool. Wow! The sound was so loud that Subai, who was some distance away from the shore, could hear it clearly. This suction sucked away a large number of poisonous insects and fish and frogs. Before it was over, many whirlpools appeared one after another on the river, sucking in those poisonous insects, fish, frogs, and some other fish. This scene was like a black hole, and all the creatures on the river were sucked into the whirlpool. Is this a natural phenomenon or is there a ferocious beast? Subai doesn't know what this phenomenon is. He has seen a lot of strange things today. This is a water doll with a big mouth. There are a lot of them during the rainy season every year, but they are rarely seen in normal times, Yanhua explained. As she spoke, Horn Lady began to prepare the spear, with a look of eagerness on her face. Water doll? Subai felt that the name was very familiar and asked, what kind of creature is this? A kind of beast that sounds like a little baby. Since it lives in water, we all call it water doll. Yanhua stared at the river without looking back. Shalan and other warriors also began to prepare the spears in their hands. It turned out to be a giant salamander. Subai knew this kind of creature instantly after listening to the Horn Girl's words. On the other side of the earth, giant salamanders are also called giant salamanders. Their living environment is relatively unique. They usually live in mountains with fast currents, cool water quality, lush aquatic plants, and many rock crevices and caves. In streams, rivers, and lakes. Sometimes they also move around on the roots of trees on the shore or on fallen tree trunks, and choose to inhabit caves at the mouth of beaches with backflow. Their food includes fish, frogs, crabs, snakes, shrimps, and earthworms. And aquatic insects, etc., so it's not surprising to see them sucking fish and frogs now. It's just that the giant salamanders on the earth are not like the giant salamanders in the primitive era. They can form a vortex under the water. This is a bit of a trick. Yes, I feel like giant fish is more suitable for them. Yanhua suddenly felt that this name was good. I always felt that there was something wrong with Shuiwawa in the past, but now it seems that there is no word fish in it. No wonder it sounds strange. In fact, the giant salamander is not a fish, it is also called a giant salamander, an amphibian. Subai explained. Yanhua was confused after hearing this. She only knew that she had to catch some water dolls. These water dolls were very big. It would be great if she could catch a bigger one. She stared at the whirlpool on the river attentively and said, "Woo, I'll catch some water dolls and bring them back to eat." Eat giant salamander? I haven't eaten it yet. Subai raised his eyebrows slightly. On the other side of the earth, wild salamanders cannot be eaten, and eating them is illegal. However, they are completely inedible. Only salamanders of the second generation or above can be eaten, developed, and utilized. In other words, after wild salamanders are bred and raised in captivity, the first generation of Kalos cannot be eaten. The next generation of Kalos, the second generation, which is the grandson generation of salamanders, can be eaten and developed. Woo, I will arrest you right now. Yanhua said immediately. Be careful, Subai warned. Second update, please support and customize. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 399. Chapter 399, Catch It. 3 more, please customize. Call out. Call out. Call out. Yanhua launched the 3 spears in her hand one after another, aiming in the direction of the whirlpools. After the 3 spears were launched, the river surface began to change a little red. Then the blood rendered more areas until a large area of red could be seen. This sign meant that a hit had been made. Yanhua took up the hit targets without hesitation. Otherwise, the smell of blood would have blown away the hit targets. Water dolls eat clean food, so they need to be fished out of the water quickly. Look, I caught them. There are 3 of them. Yanhua happily shook the water doll in her hand. Subai was not very surprised when he looked at those water dolls. They were not much different from the giant salamanders on the earth. However, they were twice as big and the color was better. It's black, not like the reddish-brown color on earth. And the overall appearance has also changed a little bit, that is, it has tentacles, which is somewhat similar to a catfish. Okay, let's leave it for now and take it home to eat at night. Subai has already begun to think about the taste of those giant salamanders. After all, he has never tasted the taste of giant salamanders, and he doesn't know what kind of meat it will taste like. Woo, then I'll go ahead and catch some. Yanhua was already interested, so she put on some spears and started to catch the water dolls. The others did the same, all put their spears on their backs and started to set off, also preparing to catch some water dolls. What does water doll taste like? Subai asked, if there was someone ready to ask next to him. Yu Ying thought about it for a while and said, I don't know, I haven't eaten it. Although the fox-eared girl says she is a witch now, she was not the one she was last year. Although her status is not very low, she is not so low that she can get the meat of a water doll. Then you can try it tonight, Subai said with a smile, but he already knew that tribes are also divided into classes. If your status is not noble enough, you will not be able to get some delicious meat, and even the meat cannot be guaranteed to be enough. Even in this primitive society, identity is equally important. If the fox-eared girl hadn't been a witch, I'm afraid she wouldn't be able to eat the meat of the water doll this year. Yes, Yu Ying nodded expectantly, her pink eyes blinking all the time, happily imagining the taste of those fish meat. Boo-hoo-hoo. The people on the shore continued to throw spears towards the river, and everyone's face was happy. It seemed that the attack launched by the poisonous insects just now did not affect them. They still looked at the creatures in the river. The whirlpools on the river are still constantly being generated, and piranhas, fish frogs, and poisonous insects are all being sucked in by the whirlpools. The water doll is sticking its head out of the river contentedly, still blinking with a satisfied look on its face. Just when those water dolls were still immersed in the joy of satisfaction, a huge bloody mouth swallowed up a huge water doll. Boom! There was just a loud noise, and everything happened in a flash of lightning, which made people unable to react. The water doll that was just enjoying the food on the river was gone, and there were only circles of ripples on the river that were not calm yet. Was there any ferocious beast just now? Subai also suddenly saw a big blood-red mouth with many sharp teeth. Looks like the River King crocodile. Yanhua also recalled the scene she just saw. The scene seemed familiar. She seemed to have seen this kind of creature during the rainy season last year. At that time, what she heard from her father was the River King crocodile, which was much bigger than the stone-armored crocodile. And it looks even more ferocious. The whole body is like a hippopotamus on the other side of the earth. It is a very big one, and its mouth is also very big. It can bite off the entire upper body of a person in one bite. River King crocodile. They look huge. How many of these crocodiles are there? Subai asked. The scene that just appeared was a bit unexpected. If you didn't react, you would probably be shocked. Not many, because this kind of crocodile is very aggressive, so there are rarely two River King crocodiles in a section of the river, Yanhua said. Niang Jiao Niang has heard from her father about the River King crocodile. They all say that this kind of crocodile must be kept away. This kind of crocodile is so lethal that if it is bitten, it is impossible to survive. Its bite force is very lethal. If you are not willing to give up your bitten feet and legs, you will give the other party your life. So that's it, catch this crocodile, Subai said with a slight smile. When the River King crocodile appeared just now, he had this idea. If this crocodile is used for eating, the crocodile skin can be said to be very good. Catch this crocodile, Yanhua was stunned. This crocodile was obviously something that her father told her to stay away from. Why was she caught now? Well, I want this crocodile. Let's have a big meal tonight, Subai said with a smile. The taste of crocodile is good, not to mention that this crocodile is so big, the meat quality should be even better. Okay, I'll do it. Yanhua immediately picked up the spear and saber, looking eager to try. Subai grabbed the horn girl and said, forget it, wait until you become a totem warrior before catching her. He doesn't want the horned lady to die in vain. The River King crocodile is too big, and the horned lady alone can't catch it. But doesn't the witch want it? Yanhua was stunned. Let Yeju and Shahong go, and you can go grab some water dolls, Subai ordered. Yanhua turned her red eyes and thought it made sense. Although she wanted to give it a try, the River King crocodile was a ferocious beast after all, and she still couldn't resist. She nodded and said, I understand, I will stay and protect the witch. Third update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 400. Chapter 400, The Battle Between Humans and Crocodiles. One more request for customization. Shahong and Yeju looked very serious, and neither of them were characters to be trifled with. One is an intermediate totem warrior, so powerful that everyone in the tribe respects him. To be able to survive without any harm from the tribe for such a long time shows how powerful it is. The other one, Wolf-eared Lady, is also very powerful. She is considered one of the best in the tribe. Her strength is at the peak of junior totem warriors. One person can kill the six-eyed red bird and the big green snake in the hunting ground. His strength is also terrifying. Tap tap tap. Neither of them hesitated at all. After receiving the order, they kept walking towards the river. When they arrived at the river, the two began to prepare to go down into the river. The water near the bank was relatively shallow, and they could step on the soil. Since they had some animal skins wrapped around their feet when they set out from the tribe, they didn't have to worry about being bitten by piranhas, and they didn't bleed. When the two of them were getting closer and closer, the River King crocodile remained motionless. It looked straight at the water doll not far away. Probably still thinking about how to eat later, or how to hunt prey. Their tan bodies floated on the water, their bodies were very low, only their backs and a little bit of their heads were exposed. A pair of murderous brown vertical pupils never blinked, and the body remained motionless for fear of floating. Meow meow. Gun Gun on the shore kept making a low cry, and his pair of black eyes were staring at the River King crocodile. If it hadn't been for Subai's order, it would not be allowed to go into the river, otherwise it would. The black cat must have jumped into the river to fight with the River King crocodile. Although Guan Guan's body is not big, his strength is not low, his courage is also very strong, and he looks eager to try. Tap tap tap. Yeju and Shahong were already in the water. Both of them had weapons in their hands, but Lang Er Niang's weapon was better. She was holding the fighting knife given by Subai, while Shahong was holding the bone knife. They continued to approach the River King crocodile, and they were only about 10 steps away from it. The River King crocodile began to move slowly, and its brown vertical pupils began to turn towards the two of them. The figure also turned a bit, the thick tail shook slightly, and the figure began to stand up slowly. Because the River King crocodile is so huge, you can clearly feel the difference with just a little movement. It suddenly launched an attack, opened its mouth with a bloody mouth, exposed rows of sharp teeth, and rushed towards the wolf-eared ladies. The speed is very fast, not at all the speed it should be for its size. The River King crocodile is the first to decide to attack the wolf-ear girl. Because the other party is closest to me and looks like the easiest person to bully. After all, just by standing there, Shahong could feel the power emanating from the other party. Ho ho ho. Tap tap tap. Snap, snap, snap. The River King crocodile opened its bloody mouth as if it could swallow a human being. The rows of serrated teeth still smelled of blood, as well as some dregs of water dal meat. The whole crocodile's momentum was like that of a tiger descending from the mountain, and it rushed towards the wolf-eared girl in a terrifying formation. Yeju frowned. This scene looked really tense up close. After all, the rows of sharp teeth and the huge body make people feel shuddering. However, the wolf-eared girl is not a vegetarian. This kind of scene is not uncommon. She almost attacked at the same time as the crocodile. The wolf-eared girl half bent her body and charged up for a leap. She jumped from the water and landed perfectly, dodging the crocodile's bloody mouth in the midst of lightning and flint. Boom! Wow! After the River King crocodile jumped into the air, due to its huge size, water splashed everywhere when it landed on the river. Shahong's expression became serious, and she took advantage of the River King crocodile to attack the wolf-eared girl. The cat-eared girl turned the bone knife in her hand, half bent her body, and charged up. Before the River King crocodile could react, the cat-eared girl had already appeared on the River King crocodile's back. Shahong raised the bone knife in her hand high, held it tightly with both hands, and stabbed the River King crocodile's head hard. Snap! There was a crisp sound, and the bone knife broke. Since the River King crocodile's leather armor is also very thick, a bone knife can't hurt it at all. Ho ho ho! The River King crocodile opened his mouth and shouted, because he missed and someone was riding on him. Suddenly the feeling of humiliation came over, and it became very angry and kept shaking its body vigorously. The River King crocodile started running fiercely, jumping high with its front paws, and flicking its tail hard, trying to knock off the cat-eared girl on its back. Shahong did not continue to struggle with the River King crocodile. After all, the bone knife in his hand was broken, and the plan to pierce the opponent's head would not work. She bent her knees, jumped up from the back of the River King crocodile, flipped around in the air and landed back on the water. Bone knives can't hurt it. Shahong threw away the broken half-bone knife in his hand and took out another bone knife from his belt. Come on, you attract its attention, and I'll jump on its back, Yeju said seriously. The fighting knife in Lang Er's hand was tightened unconsciously, and her grey eyes looked at the River King crocodile seriously. Shahong kept shaking the bone knife in her hand and started to move around. Her blue eyes still fell on the crocodile. Tap tap tap. After walking a few steps on the river, the cat-eared girl started to run, and quickly threw the bone knife in her hand towards the River King crocodile. Snap! The River King crocodile flicked its huge tail, swatting the bone knife away easily, and then opened its bloody mouth. This scene was like a huge black hole, and it began to rush towards the cat-eared girl in a mighty formation. Slutty! Night chirping is now. It was very easy for Shahong to dodge this blow. She just jumped slightly and perfectly avoided this fatal blow. Yeju nodded lightly. She turned the fighting knife in her hand, taking advantage of the River King crocodile to bite and bite before it completely closed its mouth. The wolf-eared girl was already riding on the crocodile's back, and she waved her hand. The fighting knife inside stabbed the crocodile's head. Wolf-er Niang's fighting knife fiercely penetrated the thick leather armor and completely penetrated into the crocodile's flesh. Ho ho ho! The brown crocodile of the River King suddenly closed its upper body in pain. Its expression looked very painful, and it suddenly turned around. I wanted to throw the wolf-eared girl off her back, but the knife just now made it too painful. The wolf-eared girl was riding tightly on the back of the River King crocodile, with the fighting knife in her hand not yet drawn out. Please update for support and customization.